And good afternoon. This is Ira Weissman with Nonprofit Chat. And today I have Mary Lynne Reynolds, former Chief of Police of Mount Ephram, Ed Dobleman, and Chief of Police from Pine Hill, Christopher Winters on. And they're representing the Mental Health Association in Southwestern New Jersey. So welcome.
Thank you for having us.
And I gave a very quick blurb about who you were, but what is this, the Mental Health Association in Southwestern New Jersey?
The Mental Health Association in Southwestern New Jersey is a nonprofit agency that's been serving Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester County for 57 years. We're a well-kept little secret. The reason we exist is to help people with mental illnesses be able to live and participate in their communities. We believe in wellness and recovery. We think that people with mental illnesses can receive treatment for their illnesses, manage that illness, and be able to work, go to school, have relationships, and enjoy life like everyone else. Everything we do is focused on helping people achieve those goals.
Let's step back just a little bit. Mental illness is a very, very broad term. So what are we talking about?
Well, mental illness, you're right, is a broad term, and it can be depression, it can be anxiety disorders, it could be schizophrenia. It's a wide range of diagnosis, but with a mental illness or a behavioral disorder, it is either a biological disorder in your brain or imbalance in your brain, or it could be a life experience or a life circumstance that is influencing your ability to cope in your world.
Okay. And about how many people does this affect?
1 in 4 people in the United States will have a mental illness during their lifetime, so roughly around 25%. We heard an interesting statistic today about what that means to the workplace.
I believe it was $7 million. It cost the
Billion.
$7 billion. It cost an employer and a
Ouch.
company on sick days and medical leave and stuff like that.
And there's also a new term. It's not just absenteeism, but it's presenteeism, I think was what they, so where you're at work, but you're so distracted because of your emotional problems that you're really not being able to be productive at the workplace.
Okay. And I know it has a significant impact on the family, and many times the police get involved with it, which is in part why both of the chiefs are here, because you have your CIT program, and besides the CIT program, you also sit on the board of the organization, is that correct?
Yes, yes I do.
Can you tell us the interaction of the police when mental illness occurs?
A lot of times, obviously, we're the initial responders to these scenes, of these crisis scenes with the families and these individuals, and with the CIT training comes in.
CIT being?
The Crisis Intervention Team.
Okay.
It really provides those initial responding officers with the tools they need to de-escalate the situation, to have a better understanding, and to be able to deal with the individuals with more empathy.
Now, who's usually calling them in? Because there's an impact on the family, isn't there? And what?
I would say it's a ripple effect. It affects not only employment, it affects immediate family, girlfriends, boyfriends, school, all the way down the line. So the phone call could come from local school to a crisis situation at the moment, a 911 call.
Okay. And usually I know there's so many different aspects of it, but what usually triggers that phone call that it's coming to the police for help?
Some type of crisis situation with that individual, whether it be the family finally getting to a point where they think it's a crisis situation, or the individual themselves may call. Like Chief was saying, it might be the counselor to school. There's some event that will trigger that call, and that's going to be a wide range of
An individual
issues.
could be exhibiting bizarre behavior in the community, and not really committing a crime, but being quote unquote crazy. And so the police arrive, and the person hasn't really committed a crime, and very frequently they just book them and take them to jail because there's no other alternative. And so CIT has been designed to to provide alternatives and to help officers understand that there are other resources in the community to resolve these issues besides just booking them and having them end up incarcerated.
With the CIT, and we'll get to some of the other things that your group does, but with the CIT, what kind of training do the officers get? What are they told when they encounter a situation like this?
Well, that's where I come in. I'm the director for state CIT under the Mental Health Association of Southwestern New Jersey. It's a 40-hour program. It's a week-long, 40 hours. We go into details such as a mental health overview of all the illnesses, signs and symptoms, to de-escalation, to verbal communications, verbal judo.
Verbal judo?
Verbal judo, how to, what your words are said, that the meanings that you say or something that you throw out there will have a certain effect on someone. How to, like the chief said, be empathetic, but still show that authority out there. We usually sometimes in a rush, and police are in a rush to get the calls, they, skip the message that somebody's sending. We're usually just you heard just the facts in the old days, ma'am, just the facts. Mm-hmm. Take that time and listen to what the person is saying. They're showing you and giving you some big hints sometimes. So that 40 hours is, from verbal de-escalation to mental overview to actually the biggest part of the class is we do a 45 minutes to an hour of hearing voices where the officers, let me reel it in a little bit. These officers are just not police officers in the room because we bring mental health workers in the room with police officers so they can interact. That's the main part. Obviously, the training is one part. The collaboration between the mental health workers and the law enforcement is the big part, and the ongoing meetings. So they listen to these voices, and it's almost putting them in this person's shoes, and they understand why somebody can't stand still. They can't listen to the easy commands of, put your hands out, take your hands out of your pockets. So they start to understand and see that, and they can understand why that person's reacting to the way that they're doing. They start to make that connection, and then they can go from there. Maybe this person.
There's also field trips there's a day of field trips where we take the officers to the mental health unit of the corrections facility, and much to my surprise, most police officers have never been inside a jail or the jail, correct?
For the most part, yeah.
So they are really surprised when they go and they see the mental health unit of the jail and see that it's not therapeutic at all. It's a pretty bleak place that actually can make the individual's mental illness worse. And so that helps the officer think twice about their decision to book the individual.
And one of the things I think that you talk about is a diversionary program rather than just putting them in jail. You're diverting them over to some of the agencies that can help them.
Correct.
And I think that's key. I think that's the key part is we're helping these individuals get to the services that they need. Incarceration is not the answer. That's not what they need. What they need is the mental health assistance. So we're able to de-escalate the situation. The officers have a better understanding of not only the situation but the entire process, and with that understanding of the process itself and the relationships that are established at the CIT training, it's more of a complete package, I think, for the officers, and they're able to now deal with these situations and get these individuals to the treatment that they need.
It's interesting, we've heard from many officers that when they're at the police academy, they are trained that an encounter with somebody who is mentally ill can be one of the most dangerous encounters that you can have. So what we try to do in this training is to actually maybe change their perception of correct me if I'm wrong, the level of danger with your
Correct.
encounter,
Yep.
and to look for signs and understand what the person's behavior is and the way they, why they may be reacting, and so to kind of slow down the officer's initial reaction and maybe take a different path than they initially would have.
Well, I know with understanding that it gives you a greater perception of what's going on, so rather than jumping to a conclusion, you can say, wait a second, and not taking anything away from the police, because I know you have to react in seconds because you're faced with so many different type of occasions. Let me ask you this, and I think I may know the answer. Earlier you said New Jersey State. Is this program going on throughout the whole state?
New Jersey does a county-based system of CIT. The counties participate into the CIT program. We're located now in 11 counties throughout the state of New Jersey. That doesn't mean that officers from other counties can't participate. It's just that their county doesn't participate in CIT. And what I mean by that is, remember when I said the CIT training is just one part. The CIT program, the team, is actually ongoing meetings monthly on system errors and problems that, might occur when an officer does drop somebody off. Maybe there was a miscommunication. We bring everybody to the table once a month, every month, and we discuss those problems. Changes in, law or changes in any policy. It keeps an ongoing relationship there. And also we bring in people from the community to sit in on those meetings. So that's what I mean by county-based. We want those monthly meetings to continue.
So Crisis Intervention Team comes out of Memphis, Tennessee. It's a best practice, and it's in most states in the country. And we've had it in New Jersey for 7 years now. And the Mental Health Association has a contract with the New Jersey Division of Mental Health and Addiction Services to provide technical assistance to individual counties in setting up task forces, getting these task forces that are comprised of advocates, law enforcement leaders, mental health leaders to sit at the table monthly, get to know each other, and to come up with collaborations that address the problems that this segment of our population can present to the community.
And going back, you said it was, 20 to 25% of the population?
And here's another startling statistic. There are more people in jails and prisons with serious mental illnesses in New Jersey and across the United States than there are in mental hospitals. So we're trying to change that trend and to get the very seriously mentally ill people out of the jails and into treatment.
Okay. And Chief Winters, what has been the response of the officers to this program?
I think they've embraced the change, and I think that's what it is too. It's a change in the approach for these situations, and after going through the training, and all of our officers have it department-wide, and so we have younger officers and older officers, and even the officers with more experience, I'll say, as far as years on the job, they've embraced it also, because when you're dealing with somebody in that crisis situation, and I will say that officer safety is paramount, but like you said, it's that understanding of what the situation is at this point, where officers are able to maybe use a little bit more of their de-escalation techniques. So in the end, now seeing the process through to its end and getting these individuals to the treatment is it's a good feeling for the officers, and they've embraced it. I mean, I think it works. And then the other end of that I could touch on is the relationships with the mental health professionals. Those relationships are established at this training, and the connection's there. So if there are questions, and they do pop up because every situation is different, we can make that phone call, and I think it's been embraced.
Okay.
So Ed, talk about the difference between the first day and the last.
If I can, we need to take a commercial break, so we'll be back in about 2 minutes, and then we'll pick up on this part. So this is Ira Weissman. Be sure to come back in about 2 minutes, and we'll continue our conversation with the Mental Health Association in Southwestern New Jersey. Thank you.
My name is Karonda Jones. I'm the owner of Kitty Academy of Mount Laurel, New Jersey. The 4 pillars of life essentials are developmentally appropriate curriculum, technology, health and fitness, and character education.
They give great attention to each child, and my kids are happy at the end of the day. Academically, exposing them to the state curriculum early, he's getting the exposure with the alphabet and the numbers and reading and writing, so I'm really confident in him going to the next level.
This year they did little pictures with the kids, and they made like popsicle sticks and made their own frames, and it had a little picture. They were holding a picture that said, "I love you, Daddy," and literally that morning I melted. Everybody's friends here. Yeah, it's not like he comes home every day crying about the bully. It's like everyone's buddies.
The worst part about Kitty Academy is trying to get my kids to come home. At the end of the day, they have so much fun.
For independent living for seniors age 62 and over, People Inc. offers safe, maintenance-free apartments across Western New York. The affordable rent is income-based. For more information, call People Inc. Senior Living at 817-9090.
Looking for a cooking oil with a light flavor and reduced absorption so food preserves its natural flavor? One with a high smoke point for stir-frying, sautéing, grilling, and baking? Then choose all-natural Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil, imported from France. Grapes have been a key ingredient of the healthy Mediterranean diet for years. Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil is the chef's choice for high-heat cooking, grilling, stir-frying, sautéing, or even deep frying. And Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil is great for baking too, because its delicate taste does not overwhelm the flavor of cakes, cookies, and other favorite recipes. A key traditional ingredient of the Mediterranean, grapeseed oil is a rich source of vitamin E antioxidant and naturally gluten-free. Buy imported Pompeian 100% grapeseed oil today and find great recipes at Pompeian.com.
Wait, don't let this happen to you. At Jan Fence, we're family owned and operated for over 50 years, providing a wide choice of fencing. Why wait online at the big box store? Just call Jan Fence. Ask about our Easy Fence to Go products by Active Yards, the first truly do-it-yourself fence product.
At Jan Fence, we always do what we say. Come see us today.
Step into an extraordinary world that will excite your senses. Experience our delectable Mughlai cuisine and the magic of tandoori savoir-faire. Let our international award-winning team delight you with a taste of heaven. Enjoy our mouth-watering flavors and our unique flair for excellence. Savor the elegance of fine dining and catering. Shazam Restaurant. Indulge your taste buds.
And this is Ira Weissman, and we're back with Nonprofit Chat. Today we have on the show the Mental Health Association in Southwest New Jersey, and we have Mary Lynne Reynolds, the Executive Director, former Chief of Police Edward Dobleman, who is the CIT trainer, and the current Chief of Police, Chris Winters from Pine Hill. Again, welcome back. During the break, we got into a conversation about what the officer should expect when they go into a situation where there's a crisis. And we started talking about when the person, family member, neighbor, whoever it is who's calling the police, what information can they give the call center to help the police officer when they get there?
Well, I would say that initially, you definitely want to clarify if there's any weapons or any threats being made at that point, to make sure that's clear. And also, if there is any previous history of mental illness, to explain that as thoroughly as possible, and to actually try to stay on the line with the call taker as long as possible. A lot of times, people want to disconnect at that point, but if they stay on the line, they can continue to provide the up-to-date information. And it would be good if they could request a CIT officer, CIT trained officer.
Okay, and CIT again means what?
The Crisis Intervention Team officer. Now, if one's not available, that doesn't mean that the other officers don't have the training. Clearly, that they do would be able to handle the situation. But the more information they have coming into a situation like that, especially if somebody experiencing that crisis situation, and it's sometimes unexpected things could happen. So the more information they provide and continue to provide, I think is better for everyone.
And the role of the officer, we have the classic model in our heads, the officer is going to come out and arrest, but that's no longer the case. You're going to try and de-escalate the situation and then get the individual to the help they need. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And many of those de-escalation techniques are taught in the CIT training program, and also should be continued in-service training. But the officer will come out and hopefully, again, use those de-escalation techniques to try to calm everybody, while making sure everybody's safe, and the residents also. But at that point, hopefully the de-escalation techniques work, and we're able to get that individual to the treatment they need, usually with the assistance of EMS.
Mary Lynn, you were going to bring up a point about the CIT training when we went to break.
Well, I think that initially there are officers that think this is a real kumbaya experience, and they're not really enthusiastic about attending the class. So there's really a strong difference between day 1 and day 5 of the training, right, Ed?
Yeah, day one, they're, let's face it, if they haven't been exposed family-wise, all they see is the media and what they see on TV. And what you see portrayed on TV is, your violent person that they classify as a mentally ill person. And that's far from, your norm. And then they think we're going to be soft on crime. It's definitely not soft on crime. We're not getting a get out of jail free card. We're just showing them, recognizing symptoms of something that down the road becomes something more involved in the criminal field, to get them help in the beginning before it becomes a violent crime. So if they can recognize those symptoms before and get somebody into treatment, it's saving the state and the community thousands of dollars, and that person thousands of dollars in maybe employment or their family life, and getting the aid and getting back on their feet. And Mary Lynn said back to normalcy. We do a big consumer panel of people that have had mental illness and had a crisis situation, sometimes police involved. Unfortunately, we only get to speak to the people with mental illness during a crisis situation. That's when we see them. We bring these people into the class, and they're able to speak to law enforcement. Now, having a good job, they're stable back to their whatever your norm may be. Who's Mary Lynn will say, I'm not normal. But
Normal's a cycle on the washing machine, right?
But they get to interact and speak to what might have been different the law enforcement could have said or done when you were in your crisis situation. So now they can interact on a more calmer situation, and we kind of open the doors and say this class is open. No questions. Shy away from. Ask them. We ask direct questions, and our speakers are direct and honest. And I think some of the officers are shocked by how open some of them are, and they really realize, they get it by day 5. Like, I get it.
Go ahead.
What I think training definitely does is helps the officers embrace what needs to be done. That's a change in the approach to mental health and also addiction. It all intertwines as far as I'm concerned, as far as the response. And it's that change in approach, and I think it's needed. It's here, and it's definitely for the best.
Is this all part of? We hear the term community policing. Is this part of that community policing initiatives?
I think this is community policing at the utmost right there, I think.
Yeah, it's the collaborative response, I think, with the different, with the mental health professionals, collaborating with law enforcement at this point to come up with these programs. So it can be considered community policing, I think, and in a broader sense.
Okay.
But it's a change. It's a change for law enforcement.
I have to say, on site day, there's some locations in the county that we go to that police officers are patrolling these big city areas and don't know about their self-help centers that are right in their backyard. And they said, well, if I would have known that, I would have been able to refer somebody there. So that just alone, lightens up their eyes.
I want to hit one point, and then you gave me a great segue into the next part of our conversation. Is there any charge for this training for the officers?
We like to say it's free training. However, the officers do have to be covered their charge. The chief will tell you to get somebody into a 40-hour week is tough. Mm-hmm. But the dollar, you can't put a dollar value on that. I mean, he'll tell you if something goes wrong, it's going to cost. But this training is free. It's 40 hours for law enforcement, mental health screeners in the community.
So the state Division of Mental Health and Addiction Services pays for Ed's salary as well as all the supplies and infrastructure we need. And then the trainers who are licensed clinical psychologists, psychiatrists, law enforcement experts volunteer their time as trainers. So our mental health and law enforcement community are truly volunteering and stepping up to the plate to make this training happen.
Okay.
Each county has two coordinators, one from mental health side and one from law enforcement. So they work together, you know, like I said, throughout that whole county CIT program.
You had mentioned a few, did you have another?
No, I was going to say, the only cost to the agencies is the commitment, and it's...
And the salaries of the officers.
Right, but that just comes back to the commitment and the dedication.
We're always scrambling, looking for donations to buy lunch and breakfast for the officers to keep them happy.
Okay. We'll hit that in a few minutes. But you said there were local support centers in the area, and I think you have a couple of support centers.
The Mental Health Association has the Wellness Self-Help Center of the City of Camden. It's located on Federal Street. It's opened in the evenings and on weekends. It's for people who are living with mental illness to come to a safe and inviting place for discussion, social activities. We have a computer center. Every county in New Jersey has one, and most of them have two, self-help centers that are run by mental health consumers for mental health consumers.
And unfortunately, we're almost out of time, believe it or not. And if somebody would like to contact you, either for the organization or the CIT training, how do they get a hold of you?
856-522-0639. We're also, our website is www.MHASWNJ.org, and
Ours is www.cit-nj.org,
Okay.
and the same phone number, extension 105.
All right, well, I'm going to have you repeat both the phone number and the website. I know I'm putting a lot of strain on you, but if you could repeat that phone number so people can get it.
856-522-0639.
Same phone number with extension 105.
And that's for the CIT.
CIT program. And then our website is www.cit-nj.org.
And while we have a minute more, I heard you say you need the meals and the lunches and everything else for the officers.
Well, we're
during the
looking for
training.
sponsors for our 40-hour training, because we like to provide the refreshments so that the officers and the mental health professionals eat together and become, friends with one another, and kind of builds their personal network.
Well, thank you all for coming on. We greatly appreciate it. This is Ira Weissman. If you need help with your strategic planning or putting measures in place or succession planning, please feel free to reach out to me. My website is www.idea-innovations.com. Thank you very much and have a great day. Goodbye.